All right, let's talk about Pymongo. Pymongo acts as the glue that connects your program to the database. So you have some application code, which I'll represent by this box right here, your app. And in order to talk to the database, MongoDB, represented by this M, you need something in the middle. And that thing in the middle is Pymongo. So we need to install Pymongo on your computer so that you can talk to the database from your application program from Python. Now, to do that, we're going to start by going to api.mongodb.org. Let's do that now. So we started api.mongodb.org, and that's not a particularly pretty page. It's a pretty basic page. It's an old page from the early days of our ecosystem, but it very cleanly lists all the languages that we support and gives you a quick link to the documentation and the install instructions for the language. In this class, we're going to use Python, so we're going to click right here on Python. And then we're going to see all the different versions of the driver, the Pymongo driver, that are offered. Now, we're going to use a beta version of the Pymongo driver in this class. We're going to use the 3.0 beta. Now, this is not the production version, but it's the version that will be released in the next couple of weeks. And by the time you watch this, it may have already been released. So you may not see a B after this when you go here. But right now, if you come to the page, at the time of this recording, it's still in beta. So we're going to install it. We're going to go to the documentation. And once we do that, we're going to look down this page. There's a lot of information here, by the way. There's a quick start guide that's fantastic. There's all the API documentation, and I'm going to show you that later. But right now, let's focus on the installing and upgrading instructions. I'll click right there. And it says that to install, I can use pip install Pymongo. Pip is a installer. Now, pip looks at PyPI as a place to get all of the distributions. And unfortunately, since the Pymongo driver is still in beta right now, the 3.0 driver is still in beta, if we typed pip install Pymongo at the command line, we wouldn't get this version. We would actually get the released version. So if we scroll down the page, at the very bottom is some information for installing the beta version. So I'm going to make this smaller so I can grab it. All right. Now I'm just going to select this with my mouse. I'm going to copy that. And now I'm going to bring that to a command line. So we go to the command line and we become root. Now I'm root. And now I'm going to paste that down. All right, let's paste that. And now it's running the install, and now it's installed. All right, so now that it's installed, we might want to actually try to write a small Python program that uses the database. So let's look at that. So I have one of those programs right here. Let's look at it in an editor. So this is a very short program that's going to use Pymongo, and it's going to read something from the database. And I'm going to explain it line by line, and then we're going to test it out, and we'll see if it really worked. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to import Pymongo. This is a Python program. And from Pymongo, we're going to import Mongo client. And that just makes it a little bit easier to use that symbol, so we don't have to say pymongo.mongo client. Then we're going to create a connection using Mongo client to localhost 27017. That's the default port. We could omit that in this case and it would still work. We're going to connect to the database, test database. Then we're going to connect to the names collection, names equals db.names. And then we're going to call find one on the names collection. And we're going to print the value that is kept for the name key. So we have a document, and we're going to look up the name key and print out what's in there and get the value out. So let's try that out and see what happens. So to run this program, I invoke Python from the command line, and then Python, Pymongo getting started.py, and I hit return. And it prints out Andrew Erlichson, which is exactly what we put in earlier. If you remember, we can see this in Mongo too, that if we do db.names.find, that we have one document with name Andrew Erlichson. And by the way, the reason this worked, and this is an easy thing to get tripped up on, is that MongoD, the database server, is still running in this window. So if MongoD is not running in this window, it won't work, and you'll get an error. So let's say I killed it. Now, if I try to run my program, now it's going to get an error. And I'll show you that in case you see this error when you try. All right. Now I'm trying to run the program here, but now the database is not running. And so now we're hanging on the connect call and waiting for the timeout. And you can see after a period of time, we get this timeout and we edited out the wait, but you can see it says connection refused. And if we just start the database server up and running and then run it, then it works fine. It prints out the one document it found, which is my name. All right, so that's how you get Pymongo installed. This is on a Mac. However, installing it on a PC is pretty much the same. If you install Python on the PC, you'll get setup tools, and by changing your path to include those scripts, you can use pip, which can install Pymongo. Now, as a reminder, we're using the 3.0 version of the Pymongo driver in this class. It's in beta right now, so you may need to use that special pip install line, but in a few weeks, it's not going to be in beta, and simply saying pip install Pymongo will work. I won't enter it here, but that is all you need to install it when it's out of beta.